Ria.
Hi.
How are you?
Good.
How's this
thing? This is what you look like this is what we look like without masks on.
girl? I put lip gloss on. I was so excited. I was like thinking about you. I was like, I'm gonna tell Ria I put lip gloss. But here we are.
Here we are.
Oh, so funny, isn't it? How's the day treating you?
Good. Busy juggling all the things. There's multiple meetings going on throughout the day.
Yeah. Well, and you had some content that you shared on our IG today, which is really cool. So thank you.
Oh, of course. You're welcome. So shared like photos from past shoots that I've produced and helped art direct, and also some BTS of a shoot at CL that we did late last year.
Yeah, and you've shot at CL multiple times, and I was saying to Eileen when we were we were working on outreach we wanted to like spotlight all these cool creative women that we know that are in this industry, and I was like, it's really hard because we are busy, we are working hard. I was like, it's a lot. So I appreciate you like taking the time, and it's just nice to be able to highlight people behind the scenes who are working so hard and juggling so much. Will you tell us like what does a producer do, or what doesn't a producer do? Maybe that's a shorter list.
So as producer, we're kind of in charge of just putting the whole shoot together, organizing the team, getting everybody on board. So it depends on like the client, if they already know what photographer they want to use. If they don't, you get reels or portfolios from a whole bunch of different photographers and submit it to them and get the client to sign off. We're responsible for making sure the talent they come on the right day at the right time, getting them booked. Our hair and makeup for kids, making sure we have a studio teacher, make sure on the day of everybody's fed. And now during these times of COVID, just really making sure everyone's safe. I think that's been the biggest thing of last year, was just making sure we have a safe environment to shoot.
Yeah, right. And figuring out what that even means, right? Because that was brand new. So what does that even look like? And then how would you go about executing it? Yeah. And then there's a whole legal side to the work that you do as well. Yeah. With, like you said, with, studio teachers and having children on set and labor laws and payrolls, and it's a lot of coordinating. Yeah. Yeah. It's really, it's like the CEO of like a new business every project.
Yes. Yes. That's a good way to think of it. Yes. And then, for me, it's just really making sure everybody feels like they're taken care of, because when everybody feels taken care of, they can do their job, the best way they can. And I've been doing production for probably close to 20 years and in all kinds of roles. And the best thing for me is always like all the people that come together. Usually these are not people that we work with every single day for the whole year, but you come together for the shoot and you've got like this group of people that put something together and create something. And I don't know, I think it's magic, and everybody has their own talent that they bring on set, which I love. So I never, even when I was art directing, I never come with my idea 100% fully baked, because there are so many other things that the photographer or the stylist will suggest, and it makes all the difference. It makes it sing so much more when it's a collaborative effort.
That is so powerful. Like, to have that philosophy, I just love that you called that out, because that I don't know. I just don't think we should overlook that, because that's, such a big piece of that is ego too, because you're essentially saying like, I know I'm bringing I'm bringing what I'm bringing, but I'm also like making space for all of these other unique, talented, and perfectly capable people to like bring in their piece. And yeah, I just want to highlight that, like, I don't want to just railroad over that. That's huge. And I don't doubt that that's a big reason why people enjoy working with you and why you've, you know, had the success that you've had, because it's just very inclusive. It's beautiful.
Well, thank you. I know.
Yeah.
I feel I didn't know what to expect. I just thought, I'm like, oh yeah, I'll just post some stories. I'll talk with Alamina later. No big deal. But people are blowing me up today. I'm like, this is amazing. What's happening? So much
I'm glad to
love
hear
from all
that.
the people. All the best.
I'm glad. That warms my heart. I'm glad to hear that, because there's so much like unseen labor that I know that you're doing, you know, again, behind the scenes. And, you know, like you said, taking care of people and making sure people feel taken care of, that's like a really gray area, you know. I mean, and especially in 2020, right? And as we go into 2021, like that is like the vast abyss of trying to like hold everyone up. And yeah, just no small feat. Never mind that you are a real human and you have your own stuff.
Yeah.
We talk, so in this month, you know, we're really excited to just I mean, we're always shouting out women in the industry and partnerships and just, you know, wanting to empower each other and just like drowning in positivity, which is beautiful, but especially this month. And, you know, we're looking for roles where we don't typically see women. I would say that in the production role, we do see a lot of women in this role. At least, you know, in my time recently. And I was wondering if you have the same impression and any thoughts on that, or why you think that might be the case.
Yeah. I think almost all, maybe except for one, of producers I've worked with have been women. For the longest time, I worked for a retail company. So we had an ad agency in Los Angeles, and our producer there was fantastic. But I learned a lot from her. And when I started doing still shoots here locally, Lauren Gerslow is one of the producers that I first worked with, and she's fantastic. I love her. But yeah, almost all the producers I've worked with have been women, and learned a lot from them. And I think we just, the women that I have worked with are just, they really think of everybody and think of everything. And like, to what you were saying, it's not really about the ego, it's about getting the job done, and doing it in the best way that we all can. But it's always been very collaborative. I've met the most talented, most fun people in production. That's why I love production. I love being on set. And it's always the people that keep me coming back. Yeah. It's and even like the shoots that we do now, I do shoots with T Collection. The team is just so great. I mean, it's magic. And when you have a team that all works together so well, it makes us so productive. I think people are going to be shocked how many photos we get done in a day. But we have got this nailed down, and it's so good. And everyone is just like really pitching in and just doing amazing work. And I feel like it keeps getting better too every time we do it.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, it's like you're having this chemistry, and it's just like flowing, and yeah, that's how you're able to be so productive, it sounds like, on set. Yeah. Someone commented that Ria's been doing like working collaboratively since like collabos were trendy or something like that. I lost the comment, but it was awesome. That's cool. Yeah, so right, a lot of women in this role, and to your point about just having that like big picture view and that collaborative working style is yeah, it's cool to spotlight that, because I think that that is something that you know, maybe comes naturally to a lot of women, and they may not see this role as being something that is like that. This is really a strength. This is something that goes beyond a piece of paper or a resume, or like something that you consider a skill set, but it's actually really valuable. I mean, it sounds, it's like almost key to why like your productions are so, you know, magical. Like you have these teams that want to work with you, and like, you know, everyone's thriving on set and all of that. So and yeah, I mean, to build on that too, like what would you say, you know, because you get to work with like people in so many different roles. And I've been thinking about this a lot lately, because at CL, you know, we have so many different productions come in, so many different teams of people. We get to see a lot of the same faces, or half faces. Yes. But and then we do, you know, we do see new people as well. And as like we get approached by people that do want to enter the industry, I've been thinking a lot about like, what are those skill sets that aren't necessarily on paper that really do make people shine and like have success. And I was just wondering, since you have such a large lens, like what are those things that have come up again and again that you observe in people that, like, I don't know, I just want to kind of nurture those qualities more and like call them out to people and identify them. And I was just wondering if there's things that have come across for you.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's always that willingness to learn, and being able to take direction. That's really big.
Yeah.
I think anybody who's like willing to hear constructive criticism and willing to try and keep trying, I think that's like just the most commendable qualities that that it takes to you know, do well in production, because we have there are so many different things that change too from shoot to shoot, and I've learned that you cannot, like, there are some things that you can count on, but there's really no like template for that
so many variables. Right.
And so if somebody says, hey, why don't I, you know, we did this at another shoot, or why don't you try this? It's always like, okay, let's think about it. Does it make sense? And like just being able to adapt that, and like just self-awareness is big. And let's see.
What do you mean by self-awareness? Like how would you define that to someone that's needed some context? I love that you said that.
Yeah, I mean, I think it goes back to like just the willingness to learn and improved or accept criticism. It's knowing when, you know, the solution can be you know, can get to the answer in multiple different ways. Yeah. And so if somebody were self-aware, they would be able to see that, you know, their vision or their way isn't, that there are other ways, you know, there isn't just one answer or one solution to how you get to the vision, right?
Yeah, that flexibility thing. Yeah. And hearing criticism. And that is really, I mean, it's interesting now, because I feel like people there's a heightened sensitivity now, especially from just life being so different in multiple ways, and people, you know, dealing with illness, dealing with loss, job uncertainty, I mean, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And there is a heightened sensitivity, and it seems like we're navigating new ways of not just receiving criticism, but also giving it. Yep. And you know, as you know, you in your role, and you really are overseeing like so many different pieces of a, you know, huge puzzle that's constantly changing. Is there like, do you think that coming from like a woman's perspective, you have a way of delivering criticism that you've developed over the years that it feels like generally successful, or how do you know like when to pivot?
Yeah, I mean, I think for me, what I've learned over the years is kind of just offer like other solutions.
Mm-hmm.
If I'm presenting it to somebody, just acknowledging their solution and then also offering other suggestions that we could, you know, how to achieve something. That for me has been the best that I've learned over the years. And yeah.
It's that acknowledgement and also making suggestions. So it's like, I see you messed up. Let me make some suggestions. Yeah.
Or like, you know, like, oh, there might be an easier way to do it.
Right.
Or
right.
A less
We love
expensive
efficiency.
way to do it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. Because like, you know, budget is, there's always a budget. So
right.
it's like, there might be a more efficient way to do it.
You forgot to mention budgets. I don't even think you mentioned that. That's like a tiny part of what you do.
It's a tiny thing.
A little bit. Right.
But gosh, this 2020 year is the production that I've been doing the previous, like in 2019.
Yeah.
I started out doing it for fun, for friends' brands, because I have a lot of entrepreneur friends that are super talented and they have like just the most beautiful shops. And so I did it for fun. So I'm like, yeah, let's do this. And then in 2020, I took on more like bigger commercial production jobs. And oh my gosh, the things that, what a year to learn.
Yeah, right? Yeah.
Because like we started out with remote shoots in March and April.
Yeah.
Nobody's ever done that ever before. Like, what is a remote shoot?
Messy. It's messy. That's what it is.
We learned a lot.
Right. Right.
And then by July, by the time we started shooting in person again, it's like, how do we make it sure that everybody's safe, and like all these things that we had to follow, just following CDC guidelines. And then, so we're like, fine, let's shoot outside so that, you know, there's airflow.
Yeah, shooting on
confined.
The patient. Right.
And then July and then August, September, we had the fires. There was the smoke. You couldn't shoot outside. So we had to go back inside. And for a second, I'm like, should we be inside? But we can't be outside. There was the orange skies. And it's like, will that turn all of our kids orange?
Right. We'll just change our whole creative deck. Yeah. It'll be like it's Mars.
Yes.
Perfect.
Yeah. But, and then storms, and it's like every shoot was like a different matrix of things that could go wrong.
Yeah. But you keep a sense of humor. Like, how do you...
I mean,
you can't, I'm sure you don't always laugh. Like, I'm sure there are times where you're like, I don't know about you, but working from home too is funny, because I will have my like little out, you know, like I'm like, oh. And so, you know, I have like witnesses now, minors witnessing. And so I was, it reminds me, my grandmother used to always go, shoot. But it was like this long, drawn out, like, shoot. And then I'm doing that now. So I do that a lot. I'm like, I'm just playing shoot. What? So what do? You can't laugh all the time. What do you do?
No.
Do you get frustrated?
Yeah, totally.
Tell us, Ria, what do you do? What's your secret?
But I don't know, what I like, you know, what I really like about marketing, because you work with artists all the time, but the difference between like marketing and say an artist who starts with a blank page is that you have a set of rules that you need to work with. These are the confines, and it's really problem solving, which I love.
Yeah.
I love
constant problem solving. Right. You have parameters, so then you're like, what can I do within that?
Right. But yeah, I mean, totally when, you know, things get rough, I really more turn in more, and it's like, okay, this is the problem. How are we going to address it?
Mm-hmm.
And then afterwards, you know, in hindsight, I can laugh about it because we survived it.
Right. I know, looking back, I mean, you must have, what is like, if you were looking back and you were like, that didn't seem like it was going to work out. Like, do you have any stories like that? You're like, I definitely thought I was going to quit forever on that day.
It hasn't been that bad. I mean, I do sit with mistakes a lot, which is like, I know not always like really good, but I dwell on mistakes. And
like thinking it over, like you're chewing it,
yeah,
you're chewing it over, like how.
I'm like, yeah, that for sure. I think over mistakes for a long time, but I also think that that's just kind of like the school of hard knocks. You make the mistake and you will never make it again. And sometimes, you know, in my almost 20-year career in marketing, it's like, sometimes it's just like, that's how you learn. That's how I learn. We just make every single mistake once and not do it again.
Yeah. Yeah. And try to do it with grace and try to own it. Like taking ownership for stuff is definitely, it kind of sets you free too. I think easier to just sort of own something and then like you said, work on it, but then you're able to move past as opposed to, I don't know, denying it or continuing to spin and and someone said hard to shake things off when you're a perfectionist.
That's my sister.
I was like, such a good point. Leave it to sisters to call it out.
Yeah, it's great, but I mean, being a perfectionist is also what helps me make sure that we kind of think of everything, or at least try to.
Yeah, because it's infinite details. I mean, it just goes on and on and on. So if you aren't somewhat wired that way, 50% would fall through the cracks, no?
Right.
Yeah.
For sure. Yeah. The organizing and the planning is key. And then also, you make the plan with the expectation that that plan could change at any moment.
Right. Totally out the window. You're right. Instantly coming up with 3 new plans.
Yes.
That would like fit. Well, if this doesn't, then maybe this, and then.
Yeah. We had, so I was helping out T early last year, this time last year. And they normally shoot, they will shoot abroad because their collections are always based on a different country.
Oh, that's cool. I didn't know that.
Yeah. So they were supposed to travel to Peru last year. And then the shutdown happened. And then like, oh, well, maybe only a small crew will go. And then Peru closed its borders and Americans can't go there.
So you were in the midst of just like downsizing the production to go to Peru?
Like every day we had a different downsized plan until they just shut the border and there's no plan to go.
No plan.
But I mean, that was like frustrating because we didn't know what was going to happen every single day. It was just a different plan every day. But it was also like, I like the challenge. I like the challenge.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm going to figure this out.
Yeah, that's cool. That's inspiring. Yeah, because you're like, I'm not defeated just because I've hit this like road bump. I'm like, there's a way.
Yes.
Figure it out.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, that's really cool. And what did you do before production? Like, do you feel like you have had work experiences or personal experiences that like brought that? I mean, we could ask your sister too, but that like, you know, built you to be able to like thrive in this kind of role?
My whole career has been really in marketing. I worked as marketing director at a Fortune 500 retailer. And so I grew up there. just learned a lot of things there. We did TV commercial production and photo production, like about 3-4 times a year. So just learned about that. And the company I was working for, it's really like there was the attitude of let's be scrappy. It's not like, yes, we're a big company and money's no object. We have to be scrappy. We fought for every dollar in the budget, and we made things that, like, I think a lot of other companies of that size would be surprised at how lean our budget was and how lean the staff is for, you know, the entire department. So I learned a lot through there.
Yeah, no, that's a good point, because I think there would probably be an assumption that it's like, oh, it's corporate and like your budget's got extra zeros on it and you're just kind of like part of some big, huge operation. But yeah, to hear, I'm sure that all that scrappy problem solving is, totally set you up for being able to like work with all these different freelance clients, because there's so many unpredictable, variations constantly. Right. And different ways of working, right? Because you work with different companies, and then they have like a whole different marketing team, different strategy, different pipeline. Like, you know, the schedules are completely different. It's interesting. Well, not completely different, but you know, they're, you know, how they go to market, it all affects, you know, that domino into actually producing assets that you're doing. So
and like, or even information. Like, because I work for a digital agency too, and we'll get projects with no project brief.
Right.
They're like, finish this, here's the deadline, and we're not exactly sure what.
We'll get back to you like the day before the shoot, and we'll have all the details. It'll be good.
Right.
It's tough. Well, and then, you know, companies, they change over, right? Like, so, I mean, I've been, you know, where so many job roles where, you know, the company changed, the creative leadership changed, or, you know, CMO, and it just like everything pivots. You would think it wouldn't be such a shift, but it's all the way, you know, it's down to casting, or, I mean, of course, budgets, we all know that, but, you know, there are other like creative nuances, or they want to, you know, shoot with different teams, or all of that. And then, you just, like you said, you're like, I'm flexible.
Yes, for sure.
Do you find that you have other women approach you to work in production? Do you get like a lot of new, like people that are new to the business that are like, I'd like to shadow or learn or intern or things like that? Or are you a little bit more removed?
Yeah, I feel like I'm a little bit more removed because it's not, I haven't been in like this producer role for a long time. And I'm not in it full time also. It's something that I'm doing kind of freelance. And working with just people I like. I mean, I'm fortunate enough to be able to choose.
No, it's great. Well, and you built an expertise based on these other roles that you've been in. So that's really, it's not like you woke up one day that you were like a dental hygienist and you woke up and were like, I'm going to start producing photo shoots. And called your friends, you know?
But I would love it if anybody wants to shadow, like, once this COVID thing is over and we don't have a strict head count on set anymore, that'd be great. I'd love to do that.
We're getting there.
I've had no, that's like, I guess wasn't entirely true. I've had a couple of people ask, but I'm like, it's just tough this year because of the head count thing. But if it weren't for that, no.
And I mean, even working in the same room with someone is difficult at this point. So, those feel like all those conversations are probably going to change very soon. So you've been in this role for a little while, and I mean, it seems like you're thriving in it. You like it. Do you see yourself doing it for a while, or do you see yourself like transitioning again in the near future? Or hard to say.
I mean, I like it right now, and then I've always just thought, as long as I'm having fun and I'm learning still, I'll keep doing it.
Yeah.
I don't know if it'll be something I'll be doing forever. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
I've certainly considered going on the client side again in-house.
Mm-hmm.
So that's something I've thought about, but I'm not making any plans right now.
It's a weird time to make plans, period.
Yeah.
But for now,
Yeah.
you're cruising.
But for
and
now,
you come to CL and shoot,
Yeah.
which is
Yes,
not too shabby.
it's
Kind of
not
all
at
right.
all. I mean, I think you guys have the best studio in the Bay Area.
Okay, right?
It's amazing.
So pretty there.
And like Cecilia, what she's built, I'm in awe and will always be in awe of her. She's incredible.
Same.
Funny story, we actually met each other a long time ago, maybe like 15 years ago.
Yeah?
Because we were at the same party, like we had a common friends.
I love
So it'd be like Halloween parties or random things like that. And then met each other again a few years ago, and it's like, oh, we've met each other.
That's so cool. Yeah. Cecilia knows so many people. She's like another one that's just been in like, oh, I wore this hat, I wore that hat, I wore this hat. And I mean, I love it because it just, I don't know, it not just for being like a well-rounded person, but it's like what you're talking about having like success in the role too. You have like a respect for what all these people bring, and you know, down to like the bartender, you know, like, I know, I see you, I've bartended, you're killing it, you're holding a whole vibe, you know. I mean, it's a big picture.
Of course.
Yeah.
Everybody contributes to the set. I mean, who's there is necessary. So,
well, you haven't shot with Cecilia. It's really fun to shoot with Cecilia.
Okay.
I met her on set back at Old Navy, and you know, those productions were huge, are huge, and it was like energy, and she just got it. You know, she was like, all right, look, like, how can we expect this talent to come in here and give us like 110% if we're all like, you know? So it was like, it was fun. You know, it was like, okay, let's get like the disco ball, like let's get the music and like have a sense of humor. And like what you were talking about earlier about like, you know, stuff's gonna go wrong, things are gonna get wacky. Was like, let's just try to keep the drama. We have this thing, it's like, keep your drama off my set. So anyway, and that was just like, it makes it's just putting your best energy into it. And she's still doing that today. I mean, CL is like, you walk in and you're like, oh, it's so beautiful. And it's like, that is literally blood, sweat, and tears, you know, plenty of tears. So to hear every time someone comes in and is like, I love shooting here, it's like, that's a compliment, but it's also like very deeply fulfilling, because that is, you know, really just the environment that she wanted to curate to work in, like for herself and her teams and like all of us in the industry. So and we love it. I mean, like when people come in and they have that same like vibe and just like your perspective, it's a life perspective. It's who you are. It's like, you're here. I mean, you might shut the door and then like, but like, you're also, you know, you're cool. And like when we first met in person and I was like, I really like you. Like, this is so, I can feel it. And, so that just feels like synergy, you know. It just feels like really good when people are in the space, and just keep building on that, because there are bumps, you know. It can be a very stressful environment. Like almost as stressful as an emergency room, right?
Yeah. I mean, there are like shoots that I've gone into going like, what is going to go wrong?
You know it's coming. You're like, I know.
I know it's coming. It might be from this or that.
You're like, I'm watching you.
But it's it's wonderful that you feel appreciated for creating that energy and that vibe at CL, because it really is very special, that space.
Yeah. Oh, well, I'm happy to hear you say that. And I'm so glad you wanted to chat with me today and like just catch up. And I've been needing it too. So it's like it's nice to have like, you know, Women's Month that made us, you know, we're like, okay, let's like put some effort into this. This feels good. Let's, you know, partner up, and we're gonna spotlight a few more people later this week. And yeah, if anyone else is interested too, like let us know. We just wanna shine a light on everybody doing like all these amazing things.
Yeah.
So
and Emily, hi Emily. I see your comment. And yes, we really always try to support and find talented women and people of color to join in the crew. We I feel like more brands have done a better job of having diversity in their casting, but what I really want to see more is diversity in the crew, because that will help our cast feel more at home and more comfortable, to see, you know, they're not just being kind of used as, you know, the face for the customer, but that it's like a true kind of interest and equity in having people of color in the crew. So that, and of course women, and thankfully I know so many amazing, wonderful, talented women that I've had opportunity to work with, and that's always something that I'm super thankful for, and feel like really just lucky to know such a deep like bench of artists, you know.
yeah, likewise. Yeah, it feels, yeah, it does. It feels really fortunate. And yeah, it feels good to be able to have a lot of these conversations at the table, out in the front, in the open, around like the marginalized communities in this industry for sure. The numbers beyond just, you know, any tokenism in casting and things like that, which we all know that a lot of those are, you just come down to dollar signs and target market outreach and trends. But yeah, behind that in crew and in leadership roles is definitely a mission. We're partnering with Baycat. We haven't really published this yet or publicized it yet, but we're partnering with Baycat because they've been doing incredible work widening the education around all kinds of production roles. So I'm so excited to be partnering with them. They're just doing really cool work, and so it's just been like part of the CL mission to just get all these things off the ground. You know, we're only 2 years old, so we're like
bananas.
It's just little
That's
babies.
bananas.
And so I'm like thrilled. Like that like keeps me up at night. Like that's my caffeine. I'm like, okay, what kind of partnerships can we do? You know, how can we you know, offer opportunities for training? Baycat says there's this, you'll appreciate this. They say like basically they want their internship to be the last internship that their interns have. And I'm like, yes, that's it, right? Like, yeah. Because let's, you know, let's transition like into, you're equipped, you're trained. There is no reason why we can't have a more inclusive crew, teams, and, you know, that's very exciting. And we're also sending out, I think I've had the last looks on it. I've been running it by a bunch of people, but a survey to build a database, basically a listserv of all local Bay Area based BIPOC people in the industry, right. whether they're new or more senior. And the survey questions outline that. So, and if they're, it gives you a chance to say like how much experience you have. And so I've had so many people ask me about that. And I'm like, let's just it might not be perfect. Let's just get it going.
Yeah. For sure.
And so, yeah, I have a producer friend who's based in LA, look at it a bunch. There may be an agency that's going to start it that would be based in LA, but I was like, let's do this for the Bay Area because business is also growing. And so I will definitely share that out. It'll basically be a link to forward and share with anyone. So if you're not a person of color, please share it with people that you think, you know, would potentially fit and want to fill out their information. And like I said, even for people who are new, very new to the industry and are looking for opportunities to learn more. So yeah, I'm excited about that.
Yeah, that's really exciting. That's amazing.
It's cool. It'll be a good start.
Yeah. There's because I've seen a list of BIPOC talent on like someplace else, but this is great that it's focused on Bay Area. And
yeah, and if you've seen something, please like share it with me too, because I would just love to like connect all the dots. You know, it's like we were talking about before, it's not, I don't need to own, like I don't need to own this. This is not, you know, this is not my thing. I'm just trying to like give it wings and be like a tool for people. So, and yeah, I've seen, you know, sort of like pockets of that, but not really like one hub where people can go and say like, okay, I really want to diversify my team. How do I do that? And I've heard this from people of color, Black people of color. They're like, I don't really have any more resources. Like I'm trying to diversify my own team and I can't do it. So yeah, I'm excited about that. So I love that someone brought up the question because I want to keep talking about that.
Yeah.
And in all spaces.
Because the list I've seen is kind of closed off. It's not for the public. So if you were just like looking and if you are not actually part of that group, you wouldn't know it. So what I love about this is that it's like for everybody.
Yeah.
It's accessible.
It'll just be public. Yeah. It'll be public. Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. So someone asked about a resource. So yeah, we were just sharing. I'm gonna publicize that and share out that survey. And then we'll find a way through CL to make it really, really visible. And just, I mean, honestly, it's going to rely on people passing it forward too. So, well, I am so glad you chatted with me. Thank you. I didn't mean to talk your head off. It's already been a little while. But I love hearing your story and just, I don't know. I think your style is such an inspiration to so many people, the way you work and the way you carry yourself. So
thank you. Thank you for inviting me. This is such a treat.
Yeah.
I didn't know what to expect. I'm like, oh, this is my first IG Live, my first takeover.
Really? Oh, I'm impressed. That's great.
It's been really fun.
Good. Well, next time we'll do it again soon. And like I said, if anyone else is interested in, you know, sharing the spotlight, I mean, this month especially, but of course, going forward, we just, you know, we want to do our part in the community. That's what we're doing it for. So
love it.
We appreciate you.
Yay, Seattle.
Yes. Thank you. And thank you all for watching. We had such a nice turnout. I appreciate it. And I appreciate all the comments as well and the feedback. So feel free to message us through CL's IG messaging, you know, just if anyone has like follow-up questions or criticism, feedback, here for it.
Equally welcome.
Yeah. Well, thank you. Ria, have a good night.
Yes. Thank you, Mina.
We'll talk to you soon and we'll see you soon.
Yes.
As well. All right. Take care. Bye.
Bye.